Welcome back to the Sports Joc College Football Preview Show. Exciting 2013 season is upon us, the last year of the BCS. For some people, they're happy. For some people, they're sad. Playoff system starting next year.
Wait a second, Wayne. Who's sad? The guys that are losing money?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's somebody, remember, there's somebody on one side or the other, no matter how you make this out. Somebody's going to feel like, oh, we should have kept it the other way. But after this season, there will be a playoff system.
14.
A 14 playoff system, which could end up being very exciting. A lot of people for a long time have been begging for a college playoff system, so we will finally get it. But until then, the reigning national champion, the Alabama Crimson Tide, who stands on top of the football universe.
They do.
Have won 3 of the last 4, are trying to go for a three-peat as national champions, and they have all the motivation they need, with that being said, to be able to make some history and even win the notable last BCS.
That would be notable. Whoever does it is going to kind of, that's going to be
which is a notable thing
in
itself.
There's a lot of history on the line. No SEC team has repeated since T. Martin and the Vols when the BCS era started. So you've had back-to-back national champions, but no one can repeat as SEC champions. So that's something that people aren't talking about a lot. Can they win the SEC back-to-back?
Can they win it back-to-back? It could shape up to be the same SEC championship game, but, hey, we're not going to get that far ahead of ourselves.
Also played in Atlanta.
Which was a great game. This game against Alabama, #1 in the country, against Virginia Tech.
Good program, Vatek. Vatek had a bad year last year.
Beamer has had that program up and running for a long time. But sorry, Frank, you're running into something that I can barely find weaknesses in. I look at this Alabama team, and I see receivers. I see running backs. I see a senior quarterback.
Very efficient quarterback.
I see 8 of the 11 defensive starters back.
Last year was the year they didn't get them back. Last year they had like 3 guys coming back and led the nation in defense. Gave up 10 points a game.
I see a hungry team that's not satisfied. That's the vibe I still get with them because they kind of just have that program.
It's going now.
It was Lacey trying to show you he was just as good as Ingram. It's Yeldon trying to show you that he's just as good as Lacey. It's Amari Cooper trying to show you that he was just as good as Julio Jones.
Well, now don't you
seem like it's that kind of like...
It's like what USC had going when they won 34 in a row.
Yes.
The thing is, Bama's been beaten every year except one year. The first year they did it, they went undefeated. Yeah. Since then they've been beaten, but not by a 500 Virginia Tech team.
Right.
They've been upset at home by an SEC divisional team who's been an emerging and powerful team. Virginia Tech is going to bounce back, though. Beamer does not settle for – they're usually winning 10 games, 11 games, winning the ACC regularly. People thought Florida State and Miami were going to be the powerhouses in the ACC. They weren't. Vatek was. Vatek's been the legitimate ACC team. When they scheduled this game some years, 3 years ago, I don't think they thought they were going to be coming off a 6-6 year. And I bet Beamer would back out of it if he could now.
No.
If he could not play this game, I think he might want to go ahead and play Austin P., who Tennessee's matched up with. Something like that.
Finding something easy to roll in on.
Someone we're not sure what city they're located in.
And when you look at this, I mean, we can sit and break down Virginia Tech and try to show you.
They're going to get broken down.
But when it's about Bama.
It's about it's a showcase game for Bama.
Yeah. You know how there's some games where you can sit here and try to talk up the other team.
Well, like Michigan-Bama last year. Michigan had shoestrings coming in there. They looked like they had a shot. They were coming off a BCS game.
If the Tide shows up, Virginia Tech, they don't have an answer.
Actually, they don't have an answer, period.
They don't.
If the Tide doesn't play up to expectation, they're still going to win this game, I think.
This receiving core, top 5 in the country. Amari Cooper, a top 5 receiver.
Probably the best receiver in football.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Football.
Without
He's
even
kind of an AJ type who goes and attacks the ball at its highest point. He's a great receiver. The most underrated thing in football, as far as receiving, which is the position I played, is vision and always keeping your eyes on the ball. He's great at locking his eyes on the ball. I see these guys in the NFL look away. You can't look away.
Right.
The ball is all you care about. You don't care about getting hit. You don't care about running after the catch. He goes up and gets that ball, attacks it, snatches it. He's a great receiver. Right. But Bama's not accustomed to throwing a lot.
Why would I throw when I have
that's right.
these guys back here?
Correct.
I got T.J. Yeldon.
And that defense.
Who's going into his sophomore year. I have Mr. Football running back from here. I have Mr. Football running back from there.
Derrick Henry's about Wayne size.
Yeah, we're just going to keep plowing.
But he's a scat back.
So they have that team that, you just know Yeldon, but by week 4, you're talking about the guy that's behind Yeldon. And then by the bowl, you're talking about the guy that was behind that guy. That's the kind of running game they bring to you. They have this big, massive offensive line that lost a lot of talent.
But it's 3 big guys and good guys coming back.
And what they bring back is the same thing I said a little earlier about they're not relying on freshmen and sophomores.
Right.
And that's how you build a program. And this is how programs were built back in the 80s.
It's about practice.
And 90s, that when a guy left, the next pro was a junior, and you put him on the field, and the next thing you know, and it's the same thing with Bama.
Well, so they've practiced against the number 1 defense in the country.
Correct.
That's what makes you good, because those second-teamers last year, that's what people also don't understand that you and I would understand. The second-teamers last year went against, in practice often, the first-teamers, right, who were the number 1 defense in the country.
And they also, on teams like this with Bama, they get a lot of playing time. Because
he platoons people.
They're in – well, also, like an offensive line.
Right.
The guys that are replacing those guys, they got time on the field last year.
Right.
Because
they were blowing people out.
They were blowing people out.
Correct.
And what we would call scrub minutes was educational minutes for them.
And
that's
Saban
what you
coached them up during those times. He yelled at them. They call him the least satisfied coach in the history of football.
People didn't understand why, but Coach Saban knows that because this guy is leaving. Barrett Jones is leaving.
Correct.
So I need you to be ready. So you don't need to be out here
Not for this year, for your career.
Right. You don't need to be out here like, this is just scrub minutes. You need to be out here getting ready for next year, and that's what kind of experience these players get, and that's how you build a pipeline.
Wayne. That's a great point.
You build a pipeline, so you don't ever have that window where, like you were saying with the Georgia defense, where it's like didn't get a lot of rotation. I played my seniors, and I played my best players all the time.
Yeah.
So his backup never got any kind of time. So this is like his first time really out there.
Well, at Georgia, a lot of those guys played, but they didn't play last year. A lot of them actually who are coming to play, I know they're good because they played the year before or the year before that when we had more questions on defense.
Yeah.
So that's why I think Georgia's going to be okay on defense. We know Bama's going to be okay on defense. Let's segue now into 2 great defensive programs, if you want to, Wayne. Talking about my former hometown of Dallas, Texas, Big D. I'm born in Austin. I'm from Fort Worth, y'all. LSU and the Fort Worth TCU Fighting Horned Frogs, where my mama met my daddy.
Is that right?
Yep. They have been the number 1 defense in the country statistically over the past 10 years. If you look at 10 years, who's really done it in and out, in and out, in and out, because Bama wasn't good 6 years ago. TCU led the Big 12 in defense last year, gets everybody back. They got great winning quarterback Casey Pawhall coming off of drug rehab. He's ready to get it done. The running back who was supposed to be a stud last year is coming off injury. He's ready to get it done. LSU we talked about them on our all-college preview, which is a podcast which is going to be available soon, coming this week also. We got a lot of football for y'all this season, baby. Get ready. Me and Wayne are geeking on this. We always talk about LSU. They're big. They're bad. They lost 11 guys early to the NFL.
Yes.
This could be a signature game for my Horned Frogs.
Yes.
But LSU is out to prove that they have not slipped.
LSU is just like Alabama.
They're just like them.
It means that
defense.
You just don't know the guy yet.
That's right.
But after a couple of games, you're not gonna even be worried And that's what I'm saying. It's like a pipeline.
It is a pipeline.
You don't know this back, but after a couple of games, it's like, wow, he
especially
can really
on defense
run the ball. And defensively,
LSU always has these,
exactly.
It's never actually the guy.
It's never the guy
At LSU, it's always some guy we don't know, unless you're from,
right. And that was the
Lake
knock on them last
Charles
year.
or Lafayette. You don't know them.
They went 10-3 last year, and the question was their defense was young.
Right.
Well, that same defense, of young players that got that time because, as you said, rotation.
They rotate.
So
a lot
even though they lost
always
a lot of people, they lost like 7 people on defense, but the other people got rotated in, which gave them that time. And time is so valuable to a college football player.
It's everything.
It's about dusting and building confidence, dusting that fear and getting that suit of armor.
It's so
of
mental.
success.
College football
it's
is
mental.
so mental. That's why I used to be a semi-professional college football gambler,
Right.
because I was able to psychologically analyze the programs, the kids, and say, what are they thinking about this game?
So even though TCU has been stellar, this still, trust me, is on their board as a benchmark of can we take down a giant.
Yes, it is. They're kind of in a Boise State mode here, even though TCU was great for 3 years, had one off year last year, has been a really good program for 10 years. They've just made it into the big time.
Yes, they've
just made it into the big time. This can really put them on the map. LSU doesn't want to lose this game, though.
No. Once again, another game, another obstacle of can somebody knock down an SEC team. I think, once again, it's all about LSU.
It's tough sledding.
It's a tough road to go.
Tough sledding.
The Sports Joc Show, we'll be right back. The Sports Joc College Football Preview Show. Me and my man Han Vance, BigHarryVlog.com in just a second.
Listen before each big game to hear insight from Auburn Tiger and NFL's Wayne Gandy, along with Han Vance at 9 a.m. Eastern. East Coast, baby, on the SportsJoc.com, JOC.com, the SportsJoc.com. This is the Sports Joc College Football Preview Show coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia.
You take away